Hi, I'm Larry Mike Renda, and welcome to this edition of Profiles. And with us today is Marcelle Leis from Suffolk County Veterans Agency. We have the holidays coming up, Veterans Day is coming up, and we thought it'd be a good thing to do to find out what's some of the work that's going on with the Suffolk County with the veterans. Thank you so much for being with us. First thing, what is your background doing this with the Veterans Agency and stuff?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here in your studio to be able to deliver the message to the community through Veterans Day, throughout the holidays, so that we really can discuss what the issues are and how people can help. My background, I grew up in Nassau County. No encouragement during my generation to join the military, at least not in my family. I tell the story that when I did find the military, it was right out of high school. I kind of fumbled around for a little bit, didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I knew I wanted to go to college. So this was the late 80s, and the world was considered a safe place back then. So I pursued the military, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go active duty, and then the Air National Guard landed in my lap. I came across it somehow, just by chance, and I inquired, and I just cold called a recruiter one day, which is very unheard of, and I said, I think I want to join the military. Still not letting my parents know. I was 21, I was young. It was all about me at the time. And so there, like I said, no encouragement to join military service, but there was something about it. So I gave myself a deadline. I said, by December 1st of 1988, if I haven't made the decision, I'm not going to do it. Well, it was the best decision I've ever made. It's changed my life. We were getting me ready to go. I finally went to my parents and said, I actually went to the base at lunchtime, and I swore in. And I went home. I went back to my office at the time after lunch on 2 February 1989, and I said to my boss, I said, I think I just joined the military. And it was a shock for everybody. But the person that went on that flight down to Lackland Air Force Base and onto the blue bus to basic training never came back. I was completely transformed. Something about it clicked. I said, this is what I want to do. This is going to be my career, and I want to serve for as long as they'll have me. So that was how my introduction to military service was. So I come back to the New York Air National Guard. I have a commitment to them. Wanted to go active duty, but at the time they weren't taking what they consider prior service. So I stayed in the Guard, but a lot of people don't know that there's a full-time program. So I became a federal technician. I wore the uniform every day. I was able to be with my colleagues. I met my husband, who's now 32 years. Had people meet in service or working together. It was a family. I knew I was just going to keep enlisting and rising through the ranks until
Everything just
they
kept
kicked
clicking,
me,
right?
Until they kicked me out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, this is a pretty big agency, so we know you don't work alone. It's not a solo project. Who else do you work with over there?
Recently, we just got appointed a deputy director. His name is Jim Brennan. He is a retired Marine Corps colonel of over 33 years. He just came to us back in April. We're really grateful to have the deputy and the director positions budgeted for this year and moving forward, because with Suffolk County being the largest population of veterans in the state of New York, and Nassau and Suffolk as a region have number 2 population of veterans next to San Diego. That's a lot of people that we have to help. So having a deputy director has really enhanced our capabilities to be able to go out in the community and support the staff at the same time with the volume that we've seen post-pandemic. More and more people coming in. I'm sure we're going to talk about the subpopulations a little bit about them. I'd like to go over some of that and some of the needs that we're seeing and the trends and the culture that we are very well versed in when supporting service members, veterans, and their families.
Now, what services do you offer to the veterans?
So of our staff, we have we have 13 staff members. 2 are non-veterans. They are civil service employees. They are office assistants. They run the show for us. So the balance are veteran service officers, or we call them VSOs. They are all veterans. That is a condition of the employment. They don't take the civil service test, but they apply through the civil service program. So with those veteran service officers, they're located we have 4 different locations right now. Our main office is at the H. Lee Dennison building in Hauppauge on the 3rd floor. We offer a menu of services there. We also have space at the Riverhead County Center in Riverhead. Right now it's open 4 days a week. We're going to 5 as we expand through the next year. We have a satellite office in Brookhaven Town Hall, and we also have an office at the Long Island State Veterans Home, which is very fortunate because a lot of the people we work with are residents of the home, the aging population. But those offices are also open to anybody from the community. They're not limited. And during the semester, we also have, I sometimes forget, we have space at Suffolk Community College's Ammerman campus, because a lot of student veterans that congregate there in their Veterans Resource Center, they don't know what their benefits are. Although the Suffolk Community College Student Veterans of America, that organization is very rich with information. They invited us to say, can we have a presence once a week and you can serve the veterans that are going to college here at Suffolk? And so we've done that in recent years.
Well, that's fantastic, and especially you're branched out pretty much all over the county. So some people have to have transportation problems or whatever like that. You're not too far away really from anybody.
That's what we aimed to do. We still are looking to have more of a presence on the East End, on both the North and South Fork. That I made that my mission when I was appointed in May of 2023, that we knew that there was a deficit, and not just in veteran services, in all services. And we know that the East End of Long Island is very rich in veteran culture. So we're working with our local officials, our legislators from Districts 1 and 2 to accommodate those needs.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What other agencies do you work with?
So we work with a huge complement of resources. First of all, the VA is our community partner. We are not the VA, and that's a very common misconception. People call us, they hear Veterans Affairs, but we're actually Veterans Services, working directly for the county. But we do work with the VA regularly to do cross-referral. We work with outside community organizations, mostly not-for-profits, in housing, employment, food insecurity. We have a strong relationship with Long Island Cares, and a subset of Long Island Cares is that not only do they feed the community, they also have programs and services. They have a strong job program. They work with veterans that come back that need to update their resume and they don't know what that looks like, because if you're a member, a former service member that comes out of their career, or whether it was 4 years or 24 years, it's very challenging for them to put down to paper on a civilian resume that you work maybe in the Armory Division or security forces or any other side of that. So they work with them to help navigate those systems. We work with the Suffolk County Department of Labor, has a specific veterans branch of that to work with veterans and trying to also attain jobs. And if you've been in the service for 4 years or more, you've had a lot of leadership, I'm sure. You've had a lot of mentorship, but you've had leadership opportunities. And not everybody that comes out of service wants to be a first responder, although that is a wonderful career path to follow. They may want to look at something else, and that's where we help them.
Now, also, you have these community partners. Can you tell the public a little bit about that?
Yeah, so some of the other organizations we work with, United Way Long Island, we work with equine therapy programs through the Palomine Ranch in Islandia, and we have a strong partnership with Warrior Ranch out in Calverton. They have a program for veterans and first responders, and all these programs are free of charge. They do not charge. It's all through their grants, through their fundraising, so that veterans can experience these different disciplines of holistic wellness. We work with the Pause for War organization with their canine and their service companion dogs. And most recently, in the last year, we've built a very strong partnership with, through the Guide Dog Foundation, America Vet Dogs.
Now, also, when I was reading up about this, there's these veterans peer services. What is that? Like peer-to-peer? Is that something like that? Or?
Yeah, so I'll take you back a little bit, because it was a very timely. It was very timely that I retired when I retired. I was getting ready. Actually, I was getting ready for my retirement 6 months out, and my last tour of duty was actually Hurricane Sandy. We got activated for that, and then in February of 2013, I was taking off the uniform. Just before that, in early January, I had a Vietnam veteran colleague who I had worked with through St. Joseph's, then college, now university, who introduced me to the veterans community, the veterans space. And he had been dialed into a pilot program coming from New York State Senate funding, and it's called the Joseph P. Dwyer Veterans Peer Support Project, or as we call it, the Dwyer Project. It was a startup 4 counties in the state of New York. Suffolk County was one of the first counties in the funding to receive it and deliver it. The interesting thing about it is that there was no roadmap to that. So I get introduced to the Dwyer Project, and I'm learning what is a peer. What does that mean? Yeah, to have that lived experience, but beyond that, have the workforce competencies to be able to work with a veteran or a service member that might be at risk for a multitude of things or doesn't know about the services. So as a peer, you go into a room. I've served in the Air Force, you've served in the Marine Corps, and although we have very different skill sets and very different experiences, just having that foundation, like I said earlier, going to Air Force, the basic training, regardless of branch of service, you go through that transformation. I call it the me to we concept. You come in as a single person, they break you down as an individual, they build you back up as a team. So we all have that foundational piece regardless of when and where you served.
Right.
So when you come into the room with a veteran or a service member and you say you've got their back, there's already a validity in that conversation, a trust that is being built.
And a camaraderie. Too,
and a camaraderie, adhering to the mission. This program, for me, turning in my uniform and saying, okay, I'm no longer Chief Leis, I'm now Marcelle. Who is that? What is my identity? And what is my new sense of purpose? So we use those, we leverage those opportunities to bring veterans back into the fold, to have conversations with people that have an understanding of what it had to serve, multi-generational.
So it's like vets helping vets.
It's exactly what it is.
And like you said, the branch of the service, whether you're Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, doesn't matter. The service is the service.
Exactly.
You're all going to go through basic training. You're all going to go through, this leadership training in the field, all the other stuff. There's so many branches. It's incredible. But you actually have a lot of friends in the legislature. You have a good friend with the county executive, Ed Romaine. And also I have to mention Nick Caracappa, Chad Lennon, who is himself an active duty Marine, and also Leslie Kennedy. And you held this marathon, and we'll take a look at a couple of these pictures while you're talking. How did that go with the marathon?
Well, I have to say this was our 10th marathon Suffolk County held. This is only the second one since I took the appointment at the county, so I really got to see the behind the scenes. But prior to that, I knew what the marathon meant, and it's actually it's the Catholic Health Services Suffolk County Marathon, Half Marathon, and 10K. And then the day before that, we have the 5K and the 1K fun run for kids. All the proceeds, and I believe we're getting the numbers down for 2024, but all of the proceeds after the race director through Race Awesome, who is the contracted company that does the race for us, once all the bills are paid, everything that's left goes to non-for-profits through a grant process that the county oversees. And I got to experience that last year. I believe we generated money enough to get to 36 different organizations that work, non-for-profits that work for veterans in the community. Many of them are our partners, like Warrior Ranch, Pause for War, and other programs and services. So those are the organizations that I like to call boots on the ground, because that's the term that we use. They are the ones that are rolling up their sleeves. They're providing direct service to help veterans in so many different arrays.
They're out there in the fields, right?
They're out there in the field. And after being with the county the last 2 years and 10 years with the Dwyer Project, we all know each other. We all know who's the go-to person for the housing. I know you mentioned somebody that you've interviewed before from the SSVF program. That's the supportive services for veterans and families. There's financial assistance for people that are struggling to pay their rent if they're in arrears, or if they're looking to get into an apartment but they don't have enough money to scrounge up for the security deposit. Qualified veterans will receive those payments and help them get back on their way. Sometimes they're just having a tough time getting their feet back on the ground in what we call the reintegration of service member to civilian. And so again, many of these organizations also hire veterans so that you're working within. I mean, if we're going out there and we're talking to homeless veterans and you're a veteran, there's going to be a little bit more trust than another department. And that's really, that's one of the special things about the Dwyer Project and a lot of the non-for-profits that we work with. But getting back to the marathon,
It looks like it was a huge success.
it was a huge success this year.
I see pictures of the county executive. I actually see Nick Caracappa running.
Yes.
Yes. I see Chad Lennon and some of the other legislators and people out there.
Yep.
And what a huge crowd. I mean, really.
It was a record turnout. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful weekend. It was a beautiful day. And the Suffolk County Marathon is also a qualifying marathon for other marathons. I know we just had the city marathon not too long ago. This marathon attracts runners from all over the globe, which is really amazing for our small county, or not so small county. I think the other thing about it is the course itself is very attractive for people that run, smaller races and whatnot, because if you're running the full or the half, you get to cross over the Robert Moses Causeway bridges.
Yeah.
And that really does attract people.
And it is a bit of a hike.
It is.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was the county legislature is currently working on a HEAP program for veterans, which is a home energy type assistance program. Can you tell us a little bit about that for the veterans?
I can. So Legislator Kennedy reached out to me earlier this year to let us know that they had been approved for another $100,000 grant for the Suffolk County Legislature's Veterans Emergency Home Heating Assistance Program. We got it off the ground probably in about March. We finally were able to get a press release out on it and get the word out. Now this is not just home heat. This is an energy program.
Right.
The way it was defined to us, and by us I mean the commission that was appointed by our county legislature, to really look at, first of all, what's the narrative? Why is there a need? What is your story? What's your income level? Because there is household income. But what's different from that than HEAP, let's say, because we've had veterans that said they were denied HEAP. When we looked at the program itself, we thought, well, many times the veteran or the family is not getting the approval through HEAP because they're counting their income to include any disability payments, any SSDI, their veterans' income through their service-connected pension. We do not.
Right.
Because we believe that you're receiving that pension for your medical expenses, not your everyday living expenses.
Right.
So we had the authority to look at it in a way that would be promoting in the best interest of the veterans. And so to date, we've had 6 veteran families receive funds. We're getting a lot of calls right now because the weather is changing. Obviously, we're going into the winter.
Right.
So anybody that wants to,
right,
it is. And if anybody needs to know anything about it, they can call our office directly or email me, which I'm sure you have my contact information. But the best number to call just to get in the door is the main number at the Hopog office, which is 631-853-VETS, VETS. Or 8387. That's the easiest way to remember it.
And we'll put that number up on the prompt. So I got to say, going through some of the pictures that you sent me, I was quite amazed that so you and your deputy with puppies. What's going on with that?
Any day playing with puppies is a good day. Any day. We were invited to be there for one of their open houses. Again, their program is free of charge. Veterans that are qualified to be a part of their program. In fact, I can share with you that one of my senior veteran service officers just recently received his first dog, his first service dog. It was about a 1-year process from application through the vetting, and then the dog gets trained, and then before they meet the dog, they, according to what I learned from American Vet Dogs, is they look at the narrative of the veteran, and that's how they pair them up so successfully. So his dog was awarded to him back in July. He went to a 2-week in-house school. When we went to the graduation, I can only share with you the power in that room. Now, I know my veteran service officer for a long time, and he struggled openly with his PTSD, combat veteran, multiple tours, medical issues. This dog, in such a short period, even after the 2 weeks, has changed his life. Those dogs, American Vet Dogs, Paws of War, they are saving lives. And who couldn't? Those beautiful little puppies, they melt. They make you melt.
Yeah, how can you,
But they're so smart.
Yeah, even the roughest, toughest Marine is, fall apart with a puppy.
They know the energy, and they know their owner,
right.
And they know. I mean, this dog, and I've heard from others, stays up at night and watches the veteran, so that if they're having any kind of night terrors or any kind of flashbacks,
he's right there.
They wake him up.
Yep.
It's incredible. So kudos to those organizations that are doing such great work in keeping families together and saving lives.
And not just that, but we have the veteran, but we have their families too. How they're affected by a lot of this stuff. So what are some of the services for them?
So it's very interesting that we talk about the families now, because it's usually not the veteran that's coming in and saying, hey, I need help. It's usually the loved ones around them that are seeing the changes in their behaviors, and so they'll hopefully come to an event. We encourage that when veterans come to these events, that they bring their loved ones so that they can learn more about the resources. We work with organizations like Northwell Health has the Unified Behavioral Center in Bayshore.
Right.
That's a program specifically for families in counseling, and they have some peer support. And it's co-located next to one of the VA's, what they call community-based outpatient clinics. So they have a very special relationship where you've got the veteran that goes to one side and you've got the family member that goes to the other. And then they get the services that are provided, that are needed. We also work with the local National Guard units. We just had the 106 Rescue Wing, which is where I retired, had their annual family day back in September. And it's grown to beyond just the family day. It's a day where we go with community resources and tables and information. And many of these community partners that we work with were side by side at the tables, interacting with the families of the current service members. So we do get the word out in many different ways. We also have a really good partnership with the Suffolk County Library Cooperative. And the main branch in Bellport, the director there, is a community partner who is a wealth of information, and she blasts out everything that we send her. So if there's an activity or an event, it's going out to every single library in Suffolk County, and then they take it, the patrons can get the information that way.
Now, with the before we wrap up here, with the holidays coming up and everything like that, what can people do for the veterans or your agency? Are there any upcoming events?
Yes, we do have several. I'd like to share with you. We have the Veterans Health Alliance of Long Island, which are our Nassau County partners. They do an annual mental health symposium for veterans who are invited. That is coming up on November 15th at Adelphi University, and it's an all-day event, and it's posted on our website. It's posted on theirs. That's not just for veterans, although we do want veterans to come and see some of the services. It's also for providers to come and get information. A lot of it has to do with presentations on cultural competency and how to engage a veteran. Something as simple as saying, have you served in the U.S. Armed Forces, versus saying, are you a veteran? I can tell you from my own experience, you might get a different answer, because many veterans don't identify with that, with where they are a veteran. Maybe
Right.
they had a blip in their career that they didn't get an honorable discharge. Maybe they were exposed to some sort of trauma
Right.
in military service, or they didn't deploy. And they
Right.
think, well, I didn't deploy, I didn't see combat, so I'm not a veteran.
Right.
You served, you're a veteran.
That's it.
And yeah, so that's one of the many events coming up. Another one we are hosting at the H. Lee Dennison building is on November 21st, and that's our partnership with Long Island Cares for a turkey distribution. So Long Island Cares is going to roll up their van. They're going to bring their volunteers and their staff, and we're going to support it. And veterans can pre-register, and they'll drive up, and they're going to get a full Thanksgiving meal put in their car. So that's another
fantastic.
big event. And
Now-
then, I'm sorry.
You have so many other events. Now, is there a website that people can go to see all these events?
We are developing that. We have a website. It wasn't as well utilized as it should have been. Again, calling the number at the office to get the information, that's the best way. The county, with the new administration, a lot of changes going on, a lot of social media updates, and we have a staff member now in one of the other departments that reached out to us just this week to assist us with bringing our Facebook page back up and running, and that's where you're going to see that. And it is the Suffolk County Veterans Service Agency. You can Google search it, and we come up. You say
Well,
Suffolk County Veterans, we come up.
We'll try to get that prompt up before the end of the show or at the end of the show. We're basically out of time. I wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing some of the things about the great services that are being done by the Suffolk County and for the veterans. It's quite a bit. And maybe can we bring you back here in spring or summer to give us an update on how things went during the winter?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Larry. I
Okay.
really appreciate the opportunity.
We also had the opportunity to have Leslie Kennedy, who our guest was just talking about. Leslie had these things to say. We interviewed her on the phone.
I've been a member of the Suffolk County Legislature's Veterans Committee since first being elected to the office in 2015. My father, a World War II Purple Heart recipient, Marine, instilled in me at a young age the importance of acknowledging and supporting our veterans because of their service to our nation and the critical role they play in preserving our democracy. Suffolk County has demonstrated this commitment through the establishment and the expansion of the Office of Veterans Services. Led by Director Marcelle Leis, a United States Air Force and New York Air National Guard, Chief Master Sergeant and Deputy Director James Brennan, a Marine Corps Colonel, Suffolk County's 90,000 veterans have a place to go to be assisted with and to assist with obtaining benefits and receiving assistance to resolve a wide array of life issues. I am extremely proud of the work done by our Office of Veterans Affairs.
Nick Caracappa, who's the chairman of the Veterans Committee.
Our Suffolk County Veterans Service Agency is top notch. We care about our veterans a great deal here in Suffolk County. If it hasn't been stated before, please let me just say that Suffolk County houses the largest contingency of veterans out of all 62 counties in New York State. And we're second in the country only to San Diego. That says a lot about Suffolk County and where veterans choose to call their home. So we take it very seriously. We appreciate our veterans, and we try to get our veterans as many resources and services as available. Here in Suffolk County, our service agency, it's crucial that any veteran that needs services, if you need help, we have those resources set aside. We just had the Suffolk County Marathon. Last year we went over the $1 million mark. With proceeds from that marathon going to veterans service agencies to assist our veterans. So the important thing is contact the county service agency. We'll point you in the right direction. Whatever it may be, I'm speaking to the veterans. I'm speaking to you. If you serve this country and you made that sacrifice, so we are here for you. You please take advantage of it if you need it.
That's it for this edition of Profiles. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. We'll see you back here around January. Take care. See you then.